Yes, life is hard for most people all around the world, but the real problem often starts when we make it even harder for ourselves.
Sometimes it is not one big mistake that destroys a life, but small mistakes that accumulate over time. Small bad habits, repeated daily, create a compounding effect and eventually turn into serious problems. This is important to understand because most people don't fail suddenly. They don't wake up one day and lose control of their lives.
Instead, it happens slowly, step by step, decision by decision. And because each individual step feels small and harmless, we don't notice the direction we are heading in.
Let me start with a simple example: credit cards. Credit cards can be very useful if used correctly. But for many people, they become a trap. At first, it feels completely reasonable. You see something you want, maybe clothes, electronics, or something small, but you don't have enough money at the moment. Then you tell yourself, I'll just use my credit card and pay it back next month when I get my salary.
What's the harm? And honestly, at that moment, it does not feel like a problem at all. But that is exactly how the trap begins.
A few days later, you do it again. Another small purchase, then another one. Each time, it feels manageable. Each time you think future, you will handle it. Then your salary arrives, you open your bank account and start calculating. But suddenly you realize something uncomfortable. You don't have enough money to pay everything back. So part of the debt moves to the next month. At first, it might be a small amount, but over time it grows. This is how the cycle starts. You begin every month already in debt, and slowly, without noticing it, the balance grows larger and larger. After a few years, you may find yourself with thousands of euros in credit card debt, and you don't even clearly remember what you spent it on. The same pattern happens with buying things in installments. Installments feel even safer than credit cards because the payment is split into small monthly amounts. It feels like it doesn't affect your budget much. But the real issue is not just interest rates. The deeper problem is that people miscalculate their future financial situation. We assume our income will stay the same or increase. We assume nothing unexpected will happen. We assume we will always be able to handle future payments easily. But life does not always follow our assumptions. If you look around or even spend time on social media, you can see many people struggling financially because of these exact habits.
It is more common that people admit, and it often starts from very small, normal-looking decisions. Another important issue is how optimistic we are about the future.
Many people overestimate how much control they actually have over their lives. We like to believe that if we make good decisions today, everything will go according to plan tomorrow. But reality is much more uncertain than that. In truth, we are not fully in control of our lives. There are many external factors that can affect everything. Changes in laws, economic crises, global pandemics, or even wars can impact your life in ways you could never predict. We have seen this in recent years. People who thought their lives were stable suddenly faced major disruptions. Jobs changed, prices increased, businesses closed, plans collapsed. This is not to create fear, but to remind ourselves that uncertainty is always part of life. That is why one of the most important habits you can build is saving money. No matter how much you earn, saving is essential. Whether it is 100 euros or 1000 euros per month, the amount matters less than the consistency. The habit is what builds long-term security.
Saving money is not only for emergencies, although that is a big part of it. It is also about freedom.
It gives you options. It reduces stress. It allows you to handle unexpected situations without panic. And it also plays a major role in long-term goals, like buying a house. If you are an employee with a fixed monthly salary, saving money is usually the only way to build the initial capital needed to get a mortgage and buy your own home.
Without savings, your options become very limited. Another trap many people fall into is lifestyle inflation.
As income increases, people naturally start spending more. A better phone, a nicer apartment, more expensive food, more travel, more subscriptions. At first, these upgrades feel deserved. You think, I worked hard, I should enjoy it. And that is not wrong. You should enjoy your life. But the problem starts when your expenses grow at the same speed as your income, or even faster. Because then, even if you earn more money, you are not actually becoming more financially free. You are just upgrading your lifestyle while staying in the same position. We also tend to ignore our health because the effects are not immediate. Eating unhealthy food, not exercising, smoking, or living a sedentary lifestyle does not create instant problems. That is why it is dangerous. It feels harmless in the moment, but over years, these small habits accumulate.
And later in life, the consequences appear. Health problems that could have been prevented suddenly become reality.
Just like money, health also works with compounding effects. Small good habits create long-term strength. Small bad habits create long-term damage. Another serious trap is gambling. I don't want to go too deep into it, but it is important. The reality is simple. The odds are always against you. And unfortunately, people who are struggling financially are often more vulnerable to it. Lottery tickets or gambling can start to feel like a possible escape, a quick solution, a chance to change everything. But in reality, it usually does the opposite. It makes the situation worse.
If there is a simple piece of advice here, it is this: avoid gambling completely.
Another trap is bad investing or get-rich-quick schemes. This usually happens when someone promises unrealistic returns. You hear things like, you can double your money in a short time, or this is a guaranteed opportunity. But in real life, there are no shortcuts like that. Building wealth takes time. It requires patience, consistency, and discipline. Anything that promises fast and effortless success is usually misleading you. Another modern problem that makes life harder is the attention trap. We spend hours every day on our phones, scrolling through social media, watching short videos, and consuming endless content. And most of the time, we don't even realize how much time we are losing. The problem is not just time. It also affects focus and mindset. It reduces attention span, increases comparison with others, and often creates a feeling that your life is not good enough, even when it actually is. Time is one of the few things you cannot get back. One of the most important things in life is education, but not just formal education like university degrees. What really matters is learning useful skills. If you want a better job, you need skills that are valuable in the real world. Communication, problem solving, technical skills, creativity, these are what create opportunities. But education is not only about work. It is also about understanding people, improving relationships, and making better decisions in life. You don't need to read books if that is not your style. You can learn through videos, podcasts, or conversations. The important thing is not the format. The important thing is consistency. Keep learning even a little bit every day. Because over time, small knowledge builds into real understanding.
And finally, one of the most important habits in life is reflection. Most people never start to think about their direction.
They just continue living the same way, repeating the same patterns, without questioning where they are going. But if you want to improve your life, you need to stop occasionally and ask yourself simple questions. Where am I going? Are my daily habits helping or hurting me? Am I moving closer to my goals or just staying busy? Because life is already difficult on its own.
There is no need to make it harder by repeating the same small mistakes over and over again.
If you can avoid these traps and focus on building better habits instead, you give yourself a much better chance to build a stable, healthy, and successful life.